What's good, YouTube? It's me, your boy Squiddy, again with another video. Some people were asking about the updated Sky Striker recipe, so I thought I'd post it. Yeah, this is like a go second Sky Striker build. I think that Sky Striker is really powerful going second. Obviously because of Hayate being able to attack and send a spell, going second, but most importantly because I think in the OCG there's, well, this OCG ban list has 3 Maxi, which is super good card. And being able to go second and open a bunch of hand traps, including Maxi, when they don't have an answer against, like, you know, basically any deck in the format, puts you so far ahead. Your opponent just has to pass, and then from there, all you really need is like a Ray, a 1 card to get like the +2, you know, send something, add something back, and then Rishizu to go ahead and take control of the game, as well as having 3 multi-roll makes it easy to set up. So that's why I chose to go second. Without further ado, the deck. Generic hand traps, 3 Veiler, 3 Maxi, which I ended up crafting just because I got enough points just by playing rated. I know I didn't have it when I was actually climbing, but yeah, obviously in this format, this is like the best hand trap. And then the second best hand trap is obviously Ash Blossom, which you need 3 of. These are all really good. The tuners are good as well because you can go to the Halka 5-Rex combo where you summon Celine and then Axis Code Talker to do 5300 off 2 cards, which comes up like every game basically. Obviously 3 Ray, 1 Rose. I had multiple Rose in my old deck recipe, but we had to make cuts, you know, for things like Maxi, and I feel like 1 Rose is good. You never really want to open her and just summon her because like 99% of the time she's easy to interrupt. It's not like Ray, you can quick effect tag out. Also when she's in graveyard, she doesn't come back when your Link monster dies, so just 1's good, and having 3 Maxi actually contributes to the consistency of the deck, so it's like you're actually digging and drawing into seeing more, having a higher chance of drawing an array. 2 Nibiru, which is interesting, but I think a lot of players are actually playing combo decks right now, so this is actually really good in tandem with Maxi because you can draw into it and stop them even when they're taking the Maxi challenge and trying to OTK you. And I just think it's a generically good card against basically every deck in the format, except for in the mirror match, it's pretty dead. And then 1 Reinforcement, 1 Terraforming, the standard. 3 Pot of Desires. People are asking me, do you think this card is staple? I think absolutely you have to play 3 in this deck. Obviously, you can play other cards like Prosperity, especially when the Destiny Hero Phoenix engine comes out, you know, in the next pack, in the next update, whatever. But I still feel like Pot of Desires is good because you draw 2 cards. Drawing 2 in this is really important because a lot of times you're grinding, right? Like, you have like 1 hand trap or 2 hand traps. Your opponent still plays, though. They put up a board. So, like, every card counts. Having a card that allows you to draw 2, it doesn't really matter what you banish. As long as you can draw cards that allow you to play and, like, shift the tempo so you can have a chance of either breaking the board or, like, grinding so you can break the board is super important. So that's why I play 3. Also, you can do it at the end of your plays if you have a good hand with like Engage and other searchers. You can do it at the end of your play to draw into more defensive cards like hand traps. And you know, having 2 Engage, it doesn't really matter if you banish 1 or the other. 2 Engage standard. I actually put 2 Afterburners because there are a lot of trap decks, and you know, in best of 1, it's really hard. If it was best 2 of 3, I'd probably just play 1 and then side deck a bunch of like Twin and Cosmic, but best of 1, a lot of times you banish this off of Desires or something against Eldritch, and you just have no out to skill drain, and it just feels awful. So I ended up cutting 1 Cosmic Cyclone. I had 3 at one point, and I was like, you know what, I'll just play an in-engine card that does more or less the same thing. This is obviously better than Jamming Waves because against trap decks, they have face-up floodgates that you cannot get rid of with Jamming Waves, but this does. Also going second, this is just a generic bait, you know, even against cards like Herald or like Boral Savage that are Omni negates. Just 1 Area 0. I don't play 2, even though there's 3 multi-roll. Drawing 2 is just like a huge brick. You never want to do it. This is more of just having, basically you have 2 copies with Terraform, but Terraforming allows you to put a spell in grave, which is super important. So that's why I just play 1. 3 multi-roll, you have to play 3. This card is absolutely insane. Also, it's not once per turn if you have multiple copies. So you can actually use multiple copies to send if you gotta get spells in the grave, or multiple copies to set at the end phase. Like if someone has a Ghost Ogre, you can just use the other one. It's crazy. 2 Chalice. I was originally playing 3, but just cut it to 2 because I want to stay at 40 because this deck, it still breaks sometimes, so you want to stay as close to 40 as possible. I did want to play 3 Upstarts, but you know, it being a UR, regardless of that, I just felt like there's no space. Like, you have to cut hand traps and stuff. And yeah, Upstart's great, but like going second when you're playing against like a combo deck and they're comboing off and you see an Upstart Goblin that could have been a hand trap that could have saved you, it's not the best feeling in the world. And 2 Cosmic Cyclone because it's insane versus the trap decks, versus Eldritch, etc. If you don't have this, like Skill Drain ruins your day, goes match, all those cards, you can't do anything. So, and it's reactive. It's more reactive than Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm, you draw it in a grind game, it's useless, you know. A lot of times it's dead just versus like smart players who put their monsters in defense mode, like the Invoke deck. They might just put a Macabre in defense mode and have no sets, so your Lightning Storm just dead. Whereas this, you can set and use it reactively as well, you know, against like in Magical Meltdown or something along the lines of that. Hornet Drone standard, 2 Widow Anchor standard, and then 2 Shark Cannon, obviously for banishing, for summoning back tuners to go into Hulk play. Really important. And then 3 Imperm, really important. I think these hand traps, 3 Veiler, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm are basically non-negotiable. If you can craft them, like gradually at least, definitely focus on crafting these hand traps before you do crafting, you know, new decks to play, because you basically need these cards in like every deck moving forward. And then extra decks is standard, 1 Kagari, 3 Shizu, 3 Hayate. You have to play 3. This is just too good. 1 Anima. This is just a random card because you can go to it with Veiler. You can go, like I mentioned in the last video, you can even use Hornet Drones. Sometimes you can put the Nib token there and, you know, just make like a free token. Obviously, it being a Link monster makes it easier to go into Nagursu as well, which I pulled out of a pack, ended up checking it in. 1 kinda generic. Hulk 5 Rex for the combo where you summon a tuner and then you use your 2 monsters to make them. Special summon Veiler. Veiler goes into Selene. Selene's effect to summon another Veiler to summon access code to hit the 53. 1 Phoenix because there's space, so why not? This is good for killing Imperial Order, you know, adding a lot of cards. And just being like a generic card that you can link into. Sometimes you're out of like, when you use Zeke, you have nothing to link into. You Widow Anchored something and you gotta get something out of the board. Like, you gotta remove it, so you can just go into Phoenix to get rid of it. 1 Zeke standard. And then Ningirsu, I decided to play this over Unicorn. I think Unicorn's good, but like it's still having the discard is kind of like, it's kind of rough sometimes. And this card is non-targeting removal, so you can send 1 card from each side of the field. Sometimes you can send your field spell and trigger that as well to go into access code. So I thought I'd try this card, and yeah, I quite like it. I don't go to it a lot, but I think it's quite good. And then Selene access, obviously, for the combo. So yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any suggestions or thoughts, definitely leave me a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And yeah, leave in the comments below if you guys have any thoughts about this deck, because there are tons of tournaments coming up and I want to hit them. So give me your suggestions.